Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Kiran Pachlasia, Assistant Professor at Sagar Institute of Research and Technology, Bhopal, the SAGE Group. Today, we are going to discuss on operating system, where we see various functions of operating system. So here we get started. Various functions which operating system performs are process management, memory management, file management, input output management, security and production, and user interface. So let's start with process management. In process management, a process is a program in execution. A process needs certain resources, including CPU time, memory, files, and input output devices to accomplish its task. Simultaneously, execution leads to multiple processes, hence creation, execution, and termination of a process are the most basic functionality of an OS. In later video, we will easily check one by one with diagram how a process can be executed in CPU. If processes are dependent, then they may try to share some resources. Thus, a task of process synchronization come to the picture. If processes are independent, then a due care need to be taken to avoid their overlapping in a memory area. Based on priority, it is important to allow more important process to execution first than other. In secondary term, we discuss about memory management. Memory is a large array of words or bytes, each with its own address. It is a repository of quickly accessible data shared by CPU and input-output devices. Main memory is a volatile storage device, thus we all know when the computer may turn off, everything restored in RAM will be erased automatically because it is temporary memory. Okay, in addition to a physical RAM installer in your computer, most modern operating allows your computer to use a virtual memory system. Okay, what is virtual memory? Virtual memory allows your computer to use part of permanent storage. Some part it means such as hard disk. Now, the operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection of with memory management. Number one, keep track of which part of memory are currently being used and by whom. So understand what it is saying. It is saying which part of the memory is occupied by some process and how much time it will stay for there. Second point, decide which process to load when memory space become available. Means secondary thing, OS decide which part of the memory would be taken by process in ready state. Third point, allocation and deallocation memory space as needed. So this is also done by memory management. He see that what type of state of memory allocation or deallocation both. Number third function, file management. File means combine of many function. A file is a collection of related information defined by its creator. File system provide the convention for the encoding, storage, and management of data on a storage device such as hard disk, FAT12, floppy disk. Yes, these are some names of the disk. Okay, this is nothing else. The operating system is responsible for following activity connection with file management. As we see in memory management, file management is also same. First point, file creation and deletion. Obviously, file management will check which file is created, which have been deleted. Secondary, dictionary, directory creation and deletion. Now, file is a separate thing and directory is a separate thing. Which directory file will put in which directory? So whole directory is creation or whole directory deletion. It would this work would be taken by file management. Third point, support of primitives for manipulating files and directories. So In this function, primitive support of files and directory, though both are same. Next is mapping files onto secondary storage. So this function is also handled by file management. And fifth one, file backup on suitable storage media. Means you have, if file is saved somewhere in the disk, so it is non volatile. Next function of OS is device management or input output management. Device controller are components on the motherboard that acts as an interface between CPU and actual device. A device drivers which are operating system software component that interact with the device controller. A special device called the interrupt controller. Now what the interrupt controller handles the task of receiving interrupt request and prioritize them to be forwarded to the processor. Fourth one is deadlock. Deadlock can occur when two processes have control different input output resources that are needed by the other processes, and they are unwilling to give up control of the device. It perform the following activity for device management. Number one, keep track of all devices connected to system. Number two, designates a program responsible for every device known as input output controller. Third point, decides which process get access to a certain device and for how long it will take it. Number fourth point, allocate device in an efficient and effective way. Number fifth point, deadlocates device when they are no longer required. Okay, these are the function of device management and input output management. Fifth one, security and protection. How OS functions do in security and protection. The operating system uses password protection to protect user data and similar other techniques. As we know, it is also prevent authorized access to a program and user data by assigning access right permission to the files and directories. The owner of information is stored in a multi-user or network computer system may want to control use of the information. Concurrent processes should not interfere with each other. Sixth number mechanism, user interface mechanism. This is also a function of operating system, and we all know these functions are. So user interface, UI control how you enter data, instruction, and how information is displayed on the screen. We all know that they are of two category. Number one, command line interface. Number two, graphical interface. So in command line interface, a user type commands represent a short keywords or abbreviations, or presses special key on the keyboard to enter data and instruction, like we will do on DOS and Linux, like this command prompt command entered by user command prompt this way. This is command line interface. And second thing is graphical user interface. Graphical user interface interact with menus, visualization, image, as all we have on our laptops, mobiles, computer, desktop. So this all about the function of OS. Now we are switching to history of operating system. So the first generation in 1940s to early 1950s, there are no operating system. All programs was done by absolute machine language, often by wearing a plug board to control the mechanism of basic functions. Second generation comes to 55 to 1965. First operating system was introduced early by 1950s. It was called GMOS, created by General Motor for IBM machine D701. Single stream batch processing system, we all have learned about it. Third generation system, 1965 to 1980s, introduce a multi-programming operating system development of mini computers. The fourth generation systems are 1980s to present day development of personal computers, birth of Windows, Mac, C, OS, Linux, Unix, and all the operating system we are using currently. So this about today's video. I hope you will like it. Thank you so much. Stay tuned and keep watching.